Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Steven Goes to the Movies. I'm here once again with Alan.
Yeah.
And it's a little different today. We're stationary because had to wait till we got back to Alan's place to get the GoPro. Mm-hmm. But we went and saw Widows tonight, starring
Viola Davis.
And Liam Neeson.
What's her name?
Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez. And Colin Farrell.
Oh yeah, Colin Farrell's in it.
Yes.
And Robert
Duvall.
I think it was a pretty solid film. Don't agree. What was your issue?
I thought that I had more fun watching Robin Hood.
Really? Oh, it was slow.
It was
slow, tedious.
So slow.
And some perps.
It was so slow. I expected a lot more. Based on the previews.
Like more action?
It didn't have to be action, but I expected it to be more quickly paced.
Okay.
Right? It felt very methodical, but also slow, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The acting was great. Except for one scene that we'll get when we get into spoilers with Liam Neeson. Everything else, the acting was for the most part superb. I thought Viola Davis might have been a little too much.
Yeah.
With the grief at times. Like there were some scenes, and I'm sure it's coming from the director as well. Just how slow things got, where there were moments where like she would like pause in like anguish, or like she's standing at a door and she literally just stands there while her dog is barking, like a yippy bark.
Right.
And it was like I was like, okay, shut the dog up now, please. You know, like.
Well, she realized.
Which, by the way, I'm not gonna spoil. Again, I'm not gonna spoil it yet, but I saw it coming. The twists in this movie were very.
Really? You saw that coming?
Yeah.
I was like, is this real? Like
right from the start, I knew what was up.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It felt very predictable to me, at least, and just a very generic like story.
Oh okay.
That was my feelings on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know.
I guess we'll go into spoilers now then.
Yeah.
So the movie, if you don't know, is about Liam Neeson runs a crew of thieves.
Right.
Who apparently for 30 years had never slipped up, never made a mistake.
Well, it's like what's that movie? Heat. It's felt like that. Like that. It's a crew like that where he was like the best at what he did.
Yeah. So then for 30 years, never a mistake, and then all of a sudden slips up, and they all die. So these wives or widows, hence the name of the movie, they find out that they're on the hook for $2 million from a gangster who the husbands had stolen the money from.
Right.
Which sets up the whole chain of everything in motion.
Right.
So like I said, right off the bat, I knew the twist.
I knew that he was hired to steal the money from him by Colin Farrell's character, because they're running him, Colin Farrell.
The subplot of this movie,
and the other guy, this black guy,
is an election,
right,
for
alderman.
For the alderman of a district of Chicago. So there's a black character and a white character, and they're competing to win this election.
Right.
But like I said, like I didn't know. I wasn't sure why they were doing the job.
Oh.
I didn't know that yet. Like
I figured that out pretty fast.
Right. I didn't know that yet.
Undercut his campaign by
right, and I didn't know that part. I didn't assume any of that, but I knew Liam Neeson's character had not died.
Right.
I do have to say though, it was extremely weak. His motivations for betraying his crew.
Right.
Remember, 30 years, never slipped up. We don't know how long these guys have been working with him, but we have to assume it's been a long time, because they knew each other very well.
Well, I guess he was banging.
He was sleeping with one of the other guy's wives.
Yeah,
and I guess
that's part of
the newborn baby that she had was actually his.
And then also he had lost his.
And they had lost their own son.
Viola Davis. It was like one of those.
It was a shooting, a police shooting.
Yeah.
Because he reached into the passenger seat for his phone. One of those kinds of things.
Right.
And I guess that we don't know how long into the past that happened, but it must have been
pretty recent.
Must have been recently enough where he ended up sleeping with someone else and having a baby.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing within 2 years or so.
3 years, yeah.
But apparently that incident shattered him and Viola Davis's relationship.
Right. And he wanted out of.
And he wanted out of it.
Yeah. And then also,
he couldn't just get a divorce.
Well, I guess he also wanted to start a new life. And if he faked his death and then got rid of the other guys, he could take all that money. You know, to split it.
Yeah. But again, these were his crew, his boys.
I know, but remember, like, Colin Farrell helped him set up the whole thing so he could get out of it. That's why it was weird.
That's true, because he had the contact within the morgue and the other thing, the medical examiner and yada yada. So I guess he was presented with an opportunity that he may not have had before.
Yeah.
But then at the end, so then at the end, when Liam Neeson confronts Viola Davis, and he says, "Why did you get involved? Why didn't you just sell my notebook to the gangster?"
Right.
But he didn't make that clear.
Right.
In the movie, at any point, that was the plan.
He just left her a note, like, sell this to.
If this job went bad, you may be in trouble. Do this, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Then the movie wouldn't have happened.
Right.
But then it would have made sense.
Yeah.
Instead of just at the end being like, why didn't you do what I thought you would do?
Right.
Right? It doesn't...
right.
I don't know, man. And then I had to step out to use the bathroom, and I come back and I find out that the driver had been killed.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if there's a scene in there that explains why, but why the hell did they kill the driver?
Daniel Kaluuya character, who's like the brother of the guy who's running for office.
Right. He's clearly bloodthirsty.
He's super bloodthirsty, violent, and evil. And he's just out to, like, get, threaten, like, killing anybody that's in their way.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the driver trying to find out where that book is. Because remember in the earlier scene.
Okay, so that's what I missed. So he tortured the driver, basically, for information.
He tried to ask him, and when he didn't give Viola up, he beat him to death.
Got it. Okay.
He beats him to death while he's, like, watching the TV, turns up the TV. I was like, dang. And so you don't even see the guy die.
Oh. It's one of those. You just know it's horrific.
Viola Davis gets the freaking ring.
I walked back in and I saw the ring hit the floor.
Because he had a Super Bowl ring on. That I guess Liam Neeson bought it for him.
Oh, got it. So that's how we knew that it was the driver's.
Yeah.
The cinematography was, for the most part, very bland. Mm-hmm. There were some scenes that were blurry.
Oh yeah.
There was one scene where Viola Davis is crying in the mirror, and I thought, did they mean for this to be a 3D shot? Because there was almost like an outline of her face. Mm-hmm. And then later, there's a panning shot of another character at a car auction, and everybody that it went past was super blurry, and it was even blurry on the main characters for a second before it finally focused, which I thought was really strange. At the end, they did this like 360 pan around when they could have just gone like 10 degrees the other way. Right. It was like there was one shot that was like, it felt awkward throughout until it hit the end of it, and I understood why. You had actually gone. Alan went to the bathroom at this point, but the Colin Farrell's character is like doing he's doing like a speech to like a crowd about how he's gonna bring jobs to their neighborhood and stuff. Then he gets in his car, and the whole scene of the car, the camera is on the hood. And it's facing the side. So you see, as the car's driving, you see the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
And you see how it's all run down. And then, by the end of the scene... Now, meanwhile, during the scene, his assistant is scolding him about how he has to man up and this and that. This is their lot in life, blah, blah, blah. The conversation, which felt like it went on too long, because they were trying to fill this whole moment with dialogue, where, by the way, we don't see their faces. It's all the same shot.
Oh, okay.
The shot ends by panning across the car to now it's the rich neighborhood which was only like 2 streets, like 2 turns through like this neighborhood away, and then he gets out of the car and it's his house. So the whole shot was meant to show the disparity between the low and the high.
Okay.
But it dragged on, and the dialogue felt weak because they were just trying to fill the time so you could get from one house to the next.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I liked the twists and everything. I was kind of surprised by it. And then I also liked how they're trying to. She gets this book, and there's a plan on the next job, and so she's looking through it and is wondering like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then it happens to be a job is to break into Colin Farrell's character's house. So it's kind of like, you know, her husband stole from the other guy, and now she has to steal from this guy.
Which if he had meant for her to do it, would have made sense, because it would have been poetic, right?
But
like,
he didn't.
My final act was, you know.
This is what it is.
But what he meant was to double cross him.
Yeah, he meant to give it back to Jamal as a double cross. Yeah,
right. It was a double. It was because the Jamal character even said at one point, "I don't know why he would steal from us. We never messed with him, and he never messed with us."
Right.
So that was his way of, like, I stole $2 million from you, so here's $5 million back.
Right.
And that makes sense at the afterward. That makes sense. But in the movie, when Viola Davis doesn't do the thing that he wanted her to do because she didn't know to do it, it's just frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, though, it was cool. I've been like, there's been like this trend to make, you know, female.
Oh no! Listen,
centered movies.
Listen,
and I thought this was really good. This is not like Ghostbusters or Ocean's 8.
If we're talking like specifically about like strong female leads and empowering like the female character, then this movie does a great job. And it's up there with like Annihilation and movies that take
that's another
movies that take like a core of females and make them badasses.
Yeah, especially love like the ditzy blonde, you know, coming from like being
well, she was never really ditzy, but she was repressed.
Right, repressed. But then she grows out of that shell.
She was my favorite character at the end,
because she grows the most.
She does.
Out of everybody.
And I couldn't hear that. So at the end of the movie, they're kind of showing each character like what they've done with the money now. I couldn't really hear what was being said in the diner. The woman to the blonde woman, but I'm pretty sure it was like abusive relationship help. Like she was using the money to like help like get abused women out of their relationships. Which would make a lot of sense for character growth. But I thought I heard something like that. But it wasn't really that clear, and I might be projecting my own hope onto it. Right? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess her whole struggle is that she was, you know, she was totally dependent on the husband before he died, and then he dies, and then the mom pushes her into becoming an escort.
Right.
She does. Right. And you know, this is
which then she kind of like starts to fall, not even fall for, but she gets like
it kind of attached to the guy.
She attaches to the first guy.
Yeah.
And then by the end of that one scene in the hotel, she's like, "I'm not asking you to be my husband. You don't tell me what my life is. Right. I decide." And that was her arc moment where all of a sudden it all falls into place. So that was really great. Most of the characters, that was great. Now to go back to the scene where I said what the acting wasn't superb, was when Liam Neeson was like crying about how he could. I was like, I couldn't save him, and I couldn't save us, so I saved me. I don't know. There was something about the way he like emoted that it just felt forced in that scene. I don't know. But anyways, anything else you want to bring up about the movie, Alan?
Oh, what was the other thing? I thought it was that the babysitter character came out of like left field.
Oh, I know. I mean, I had seen her in the previews, and I was like, how are they going to tie her in?
Yeah, I thought she was like one of the wives.
Oh, I thought she was a wife too. But we looked at each other and cringed at the scene when she jumps into being the babysitter, because she literally like sits down on the couch and puts the little girl's feet across her and then starts tickling her.
Oh, that's not why I cringe. I just cringe like, oh, okay, she's the babysitter that she ordered at some point. Like,
oh, like so it was a weak way to bring her in.
I just felt like, oh, that's very convenient to bring her in that way.
Yeah, for me, I thought we were acknowledging the fact that in what world will a babysitter show up to a random stranger's house and start touching their children?
If somebody who's a go-getter, I mean, she explains this. She's really good with children.
Yeah, but if I brought a babysitter in my house to babysit my children and they started tickling them 2 seconds in, I find that kind of strange.
Maybe if they're male, but if they're female, I don't know.
Why does it gotta be male versus female?
Because that's the dynamics, you know?
Whoa. That's sexist. I'm sorry.
That's how it is, man.
I'm sorry.
Who's more, like, creepy with children? Males?
I get, but that's not the point. The point is, nobody should be tickling a stranger's children.
Well, that didn't go through my head at all. That's a you thing, to be honest. I mean, I just thought, like, oh, she's, like, really good with children. Because some people are very apprehensive and shy.
Yeah.
But people like that, you know, oh, she's on it. She knows what she's doing.
I guess.
I mean, I work in childcare, so that I see that all the time.
I used to, too.
Okay, well. I'm still in it, you
know. So anyways, let's go final recommendations. I would say rent it. I would say it's not worth spending like full price for in the theaters.
I think if you really like crime dramas, like a Heat or like heist films, it's decent, and I would pay, you know, full price. Not to go like IMAX or whatever, but to buy a movie ticket, you know. Yeah,
maybe if it was like $5 to $7, like a matinee.
Yeah.
But $14, $15, to me that was it would have been a little high for the slow pace of the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay, so now we have actually just one trailer that was new to talk about. The Upside, which is coming out January 11th, starring Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
It's an interesting group of of actors, right? Known for very different types of roles. It's a drama, and Kevin Hart looks decent. Like he gets his
trying to break out of that typecast funny guy role.
And honestly, I think I dig it.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather see him in a more it's a more dramatic role, but there is still comedic elements to it.
Right.
It looks like from the trailer he's playing an ex-con who needs to find a job to stay out of probation trouble.
Right.
And then he runs across Bryan Cranston's character, who is a paraplegic in a wheelchair.
This is like super rich, I guess.
Who's super rich. I don't remember who Nicole Kidman's character was.
I think it's his assistant.
Yeah. She plays the assistant to the rich guy, Bryan Cranston.
Probably he owns a company.
And it's kind of like their adventure through discovering how to live again, sort of.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it looks good. So. I would watch it.
Oh, no, I'm looking forward to it. January 11th.
And
I'll be there.
I'm not one of those
opening
Kevin Hart
day
haters, you know.
I'm not a Kevin Hart hater.
I like his movies, even if they're like dumb and schlocky.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone to see all of them.
What was the last one?
Night School.
I saw that one and I had a good time, even though it wasn't the best film.
Yeah. Again, Tiffany Haddish, though. I mean, she's pretty baller.
She's pretty good, too.
She's always baller.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Alan, thank you. Tomorrow, I think we may be seeing Green Book.
The Green Book, yeah.
Or The Favorite.
The Favorite,
we got to figure that out. Yeah. Maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah.
And have a good night.
Have a good one.